G'day everyone, it's Alex from iHealth Saunas and welcome to your outdoor barrel maintenance and just general getting to know your sauna video. In this video we'll cover a bunch of things just to help you really understand how the sauna works, how to look after it so you can get the most out of your sauna for years to come. You would have seen by now when you had your barrel installed, it's this beautiful Canadian cedar timber and it is raw, there's no finish on it, which is nice, we get that beautiful smell. But for the barrel to look good for a long time, we want to make sure we put a nice coating on it to begin with, and then periodically at a cadence of 6 to 12 months, depending on your conditions. The main thing is, first of all, as soon as you can, is put a coat on the exterior of the sauna. Certainly on the front, make sure you get all in the ridges here, along the gutters like this, up underneath the top, even around the door sill. You can even do along the feet. The more protection you put on the sauna, the longer it's going to look good for. So that's the first and most important thing. And then see how you go. Treat it like a decking. If you have a decking outside and you find every 8 months you're needing to do a recoat, that's great. When it comes to recoating as well, don't be afraid to sand back a little bit. If there's a bit of discoloration somewhere, get the sander out either by hand or an orbital sander if you have one. Give it a sand back, give it a new coat, and your barrel's going to be looking good for a really long time. With any barrel structure, these straps which hold it together over time may loosen off. That's because we're heating and we're cooling and we're heating and we're cooling, and the barrel essentially is kind of breathing as we use it. And over time, these straps can actually loosen off, and we want to rectify that as soon as we can. So with your trusty shifters that you would just have in your pocket, of course, grab it at the bottom here, and then just simple turns like this. There we go. Tensioning the strap like that. In fact, this one was a bit loose, so that's perfect. And then as you can see there, it pulls this strap in, and that's essentially going to pull all of the barrel together. Do this on all of the 3 or 2 sets of straps as you go. And just check it every now and then. Once you get out of your barrel or when you're going to turn it on, just check the straps, give them a shake. Make sure that they're nice and strong like that and they're not moving around. If they're loose, just give them a tighten up, nice and simple. Given that it's a full spectrum sauna, we can adjust the wavelength of infrared used in the sauna. And we do that using the potentiometer up here. As you can see at the moment, they're on full intensity, that's near infrared. As we roll this down, you see the heat is lower in intensity. And now they're a far infrared heat, so it's more soothing and relaxing, more of that traditional infrared sauna experience. And so you can adjust the wavelength like this, or just think about it in terms of intensity. You can adjust the intensity. This is more intense, this is less intense. Personally, for me, I like going intense for the first 20 minutes of the session, and then toward the end I turn it down and just have that beautiful soothing sweat like a traditional infrared sauna experience. You can also turn the back heaters off fully by clicking that over to the left, and now these heaters are completely off. However, the heaters in the rest of the sauna are still heating. So you can get quite tailored with what sort of sweat and sauna experience you're after there. So it's a really handy little thing. It's also worth noting in the barrel that once it reaches temperature, the heaters will turn off. So you'll notice that the 2 full spectrum heaters at the front and the 3 at the back, they'll just completely switch off once it's at temperature. There's a few ways to manage that. You can turn down the intensity of the heat just before it gets to temperature, and that'll hold it there just a degree or 2 below where you've set it. Or you can adjust the control panel down here. So maybe if you want a sauna at 50 degrees, you can set it at 53, and then you can adjust the intensity of the heaters down, and that way you'll have a beautiful 50-degree sauna session. So there's a few ways you can kind of get a bit tricky with that, but that's how to use the potentiometer. The Bluetooth in the sauna, you connect using IR Sauna, but the important note there is that once you're done with the sauna, you need to disconnect to be able to allow someone else to connect. So just make sure when you leave the sauna, go into your Bluetooth settings on your phone, disconnect or turn your Bluetooth off, and that way whoever's going to use the sauna next will be able to connect up, no worries. Over time, the door handle can get a little bit loose. If I give you a quick example, sometimes these nuts here can just loosen off a little bit. And we find that when we grab the door, it does this. Really simple Allen key. I can't remember how many mils Allen key it was, so we'll put that in the notes. But there's just a simple, do up these little nuts here, and that'll tighten it back up. If the outside part of the handle is what's moving, reason for that is that the screws inside sometimes come loose. To remedy that, it's just a matter of taking off the internal part of the handle and screwing these back up. Nice and tight. And then we just do this out like this. Door handle is back as we wanted. Another point with the door as well is these magnet catches here meeting up with the magnets on the door. These are actually adjustable. So sometimes over time, you might find that when the door closes, it doesn't actually hit here. And what we can do is we can actually just loosen these screws off. And then we can actually adjust the depth of that magnet to then meet up with the door. So just some little adjustments there, which means your door closes properly, the handle is always nice and tight. You'll notice on the outside of the barrel here, there's this rope, and this is simply to go around the handle just to hold the door, so if there is any extreme winds, the door doesn't swing fully open and risk having the door break. So that's what the rope's there. You can do it a little bit tighter if you like. Color Therapy uses this remote here to turn it on and off. However, you can also turn it on and off using the light button down on the control panel. As you can see here, if I hit light, the light goes on and off. But I can also hit on and off on the control remote here. It's really important to note that, because sometimes you may hit off here, and then no matter how many times I press on and off on the control panel, the light won't turn on. So my top tip is just always either use the remote to turn it on and off, or the control panel to turn it on and off. Don't use both, otherwise you might get confused. Also, sometimes you might find in the barrel that as you sweat it out and you go really hot in here, it can be quite cold outside, some condensation will build up on the glass. That's a completely normal thing and not an issue at all. You might even find that when the doors close, there's a little bit of a cool draft coming up from the bottom. That's completely normal. Just let the sauna do what it's doing, let the condensation build up. When you're done, turn the sauna off, go and have a shower, come back out. Usually the condensation's dried up. If not, you can give it a wipe down and you'll be good to go. Given the nature of the climate in Australia at the moment, it's not uncommon for us to have these 10-year, 15-year size storms every now and then, and what we hear is sometimes some water can come into the cabin. This is a completely okay thing. All of the internals are built to withstand any water that does come in, so don't stress if you see a few drops coming in when it's raining really hard. To give the internals of the sauna some extra protection, we do have a no VOC lacquer which you can use to put on the seat and put on the floor, and to also lacquer up the sides here as well. And that way you're going to give the internals of the sauna some really nice protection. Also keep in mind, you can also put some of that lacquer on the back panel here, so that way you can sit up nice and close, get that beautiful infrared heat, sweat all over this, and you don't need to worry about it staining and looking nasty after a few years. So that's pretty much it. I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you understand more about your outdoor barrel and how to look after it and maintain it. Most importantly, I hope you enjoy your sauna, get the most out of it, have some beautiful sweats, and happy saunering.